Hi, Carly.
Hi, Sneha.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. This week, weather has been just incredible.
It has been. It's getting to that time. But I took a breather today. I kind of needed it. I needed to just stop, trying to do everything. And I needed to just sit
I
besides
feel
my
like
day.
I,
Go ahead.
I feel like I haven't done anything in June. I don't know, do you feel that way that June came and went and
Why does
it
time
was
go by that
you were
fast?
just here. It
Yeah.
was just the 6th of June.
hmm
We went 20.
Yeah. So today I said no, and with intent. And so really connecting to what we wanted to talk about today. And that's the idea of intention.
Ah,
Um,
lovely.
the word intention can be many different things. So we'll see where our conversation goes. But I wanted to start with that we read every day, we see it out there, the idea of living with intention. It seems like a hefty ask, and it's actually pretty hard to start practicing. But what do you see that as?
Um a few things are coming to mind, and the first thing, I'm just going to say it because we don't really practice our chat, so I want to make that clear that people get what we're thinking. And so for me, intention is just heart. It's just honesty. There's nothing more honest that your true self wants more than intention, in my opinion. Again, I am no authority, I'm no expert, but to me, I feel like when we're talking about doing something with intention, or my intention is to do something, it's the most honest truth to myself.
Yep, to yourself. I
Yeah.
agree. Yep. And not
Because everything
being,
is just so, right. Like everything is just so, like, I should, I must, I have to, I can't, or, you know, but intention is just like, I want, and to this extent do I want to do it. What do
yeah.
you
And
think?
I believe it's like that same thing. It's that inner want and that sort of inner declaration of what I want. And
Mm-hmm.
it's, in my mind, it's not being affected by those around you, what's going on in the environment, or those thoughts of others, like we were talking in the past about thinking about what other people think, and intention is letting that go, right? And just acting on that heart that you are talking about, I believe.
So almost like intention is the next step to intuition.
Yeah. Or it's hearing your intuition and acting
Right,
on it. Yeah.
right.
Okay.
So
The next step after. I get it. Yeah. I think so. And knowing and believing in your gut.
something has to be said about how intentions are so pure. Maybe that's why,
Mm.
right?
There,
Like maybe.
yeah, there was something that I feel like in our past life we heard a lot of always assume good intent.
Mm,
And I hadn't heard it in a, work environment, but I think it's actually a really great thing for like relationships and,
mm.
not even close relationships, just acquaintances and all of that. And I kind of love it as a reminder, because I'll catch myself like, oh, they were doing this to me, or oh, they were thinking this. And
Yeah.
when you said pure, that made me think of it of like, why don't we assume good intent? It's not like someone wants to be mean or mad or.
And even if they are mad, it doesn't automatically mean that they mean to be. Sometimes we slip too as human beings.
Mhm.
And so it doesn't matter how much you intend to be a great person. Sometimes being a good person is to be brutally honest. Sometimes it is. But it's this is reminding me of this one story that my mom used to tell both of us, me and my brother, like really early on. Um, but I'm just gonna like shorten it really quickly. That if we were walking on the road and I pushed you, that's a bad action. pushing somebody is a bad action. However, if there was a truck coming
Mm-hmm.
at you, and so me pushing you was not a bad, maybe it was a bad action, but the intention was pure, was like, I have to save her. And so I think Krishna was the one in Hinduism. I am not practicing Hindu, but whatever. That's a thing that Krishna used to say. You can still steal, but if you're doing it to make your mother laugh, it's a
Yeah.
good intention. So it's always intention over action. However, we tend to live in the world where action is just so apparent that it grabs us or like captures us at the face value. Intention is deeper. That's why I think it's the heart
Yeah.
of things.
And many can be blind to others' intentions, right? Like,
There's
I
no way
didn't
to
see the
know it.
car coming, but you
Right.
just saved my life. And it's a great example of
And there's no way of knowing it truly.
unless
What you
you ask, right?
and like it could go both ways. Somebody could, like, in what's that movie, Tangled, right? Rapunzel is her mother, Gothel, or whatever her name is, like the step or whoever, the
Yeah.
witch who has kept her. She treats her so nicely. She gives her kisses, but she only kisses her hair, never her forehead, right? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
she treats her really well, but what's the intention? So there's two sides. Like,
Yeah.
you never truly know what someone's intention is, and I don't think we should ever get into um figuring it out anyway. That's why I like the saying that you did say, assume the best intent, because why wouldn't I? That makes my life easier. I don't have to go.
Yeah. It doesn't it? You know, if we just keep assuming the good intent, it's less stress on us all, isn't it?
uh, it almost is like it's designed that way.
Right.
It's almost like we're not supposed to worry about what other people are thinking, assuming, intending to do. It's almost like we should be content with our intent, and
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
It's
Like,
it almost makes me cringe whenever I catch myself assuming that intent, you know, and it takes
mm,
way more energy.
but good for. I mean, kudos for having that awareness.
Right,
Where
right. I mean,
it's a
probably a
big
little
deal.
bit delayed, but that's why I pause.
It's still a big deal, because imagine, I just keep going back to myself, like even 3 years ago or 4 years ago, when I did not have that. I didn't even have the roadmap of figuring that out. I was just basically like, okay, they said this. This is what they meant. They obviously meant to do this. Now I'm hurt. I never want to talk to them again. And it's
Hmm.
like, it was just so, I was so quick to assume bad
Yeah,
intent and follow through on whatever I had imagined. And so kudos for being able to like stop yourself and then go,
I think that's my habit of pausing and needing to process it because, and
yeah,
that's when I'm like, hold on, he had a bad day. That's why he
yeah.
said it that way. There's
Mm,
other things going on, you know?
yeah. Like, I don't know. There's something about why we're so quick to assume um anything negative, anything, he doesn't love me, my mom doesn't cares for more for my brother more, or
Yeah. Why is it so easy to do that sometimes?
I know.
When it
I
actually
hate
takes
that.
more energy out of us, right? Why
I
can't
guess
we make it?
that's a good um knowing, like, it's a good, trigger is not the word. I guess that's a good point to be like, oh, I'm draining a lot of energy thinking about this, so
Hmm.
maybe I should stop. Like, that's where
Yep.
it should stop.
I think it is a moment to take that pause and really think about how you're looking at it and how else it could be looked at.
Mm,
What about the idea? I found this quote, and of course I don't have it. That idea of being intentful with like compliments, you know, like I read it. I think I posted it like last week. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do this more. Whether it's I really like your blouse, or we've gotten some really great compliments on, our sip and paps. And the fact that they took time to write something to me meant so much, and I just want, I think we all should be more intentful with those moments.
Being more intentional in giving compliments. I think there are multiple reasons that it doesn't come easy to people, right? Like if we were not easily receiving it, that's a
Yeah,
bigger
we
thing.
all are.
Like,
Yeah.
and so it really depends on how used to it you are. And there's this just one thing that I keep reminding myself, like it's okay to be the first. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay to be the first in the sense that if you've, say you've been around a group of friends for a long time and it's not our way to compliment each other or even coworkers or your family members, because my family is not very complimenting. I mean, my parents, me and my brother were very like, "Oh my God, you're awesome! You're more awesome." So me and my brother are like that, but my parents cannot handle it, and so I think you have to do that with yourself first. Do that
Mm-hmm.
within yourself first, and then obviously, like, it's like you're making the world a better place by just saying, because why are we so quick to tell the, I guess we're not so quick to tell the negative, but we're even more slow to tell the positive,
Yeah. Like we hold it
right?
in. Why hold those things in? You know? But I think you're
I
right
don't.
in starting with you.
Yeah,
We need
be the
to
first. It's okay to be the
be,
first.
yeah, and be intentful with complimenting yourself.
Mm, it's my favorite thing to do. You know that about
Right.
me.
And I had told you I was going to start to try to practice it, high-fiving myself in the mirror. I haven't done that in a while. I need to. But
I do
it's
it
true.
daily.
You can't give that energy to others until you really are giving it
It's
to
not
yourself.
authentic. Yeah,
Yep.
it's not
Hmm.
authentic. I think there's something that we all can inherently place. If something is authentic, it feels that way, and if something is not authentic, you can immediately tell that it's not.
Mm.
And so it's better to, especially like if it will be your intention, then obviously it will be authentic, and follow it. I have a question for you.
Hmm.
Speaking of intention, when was the last time, or what was the last thing you set an intention for? Like, this is how I'm going to do it, or I'm definitely not doing it. Where was like that intent used the last time?
Oof, this is hard. I think it definitely has been this sort of life change for me
Mm-hmm.
in the past 6 months. And I knew as I'm processing, starting a new career, trying to consult, trying to find work, starting Pep Talk Posse, very unaware of what's happening and if I'm making the right choices. I took on the tarot card reading, and
Yes.
my intent was to approach it as I would like meditation or as I would like journaling. And so I intentfully do it every morning. I haven't this week. This week has been a weird week. Um, but I will sit down, I will have everything silent, I will read the cards and just process what's going on in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so my intent with the cards is not necessarily like super spiritual. There's things out there. It's me knowing myself and learning about myself. I think that that's the biggest intention, that
So, what was the intention? A commitment to
commitment
yourself?
to commitment to process what's going on in my life every day.
Yeah.
Like someone would journal, but I can't do it. I'm just never like, I'm not into journaling. And I know it's a very good thing to do, or meditation. My brain sort of thinks too
It,
much when I try meditating. So this was just a very conscious effort to get
yeah.
out of it those same moments.
I feel like that's how I started too, and soon you'll be into meditation and journaling, like full blown. Like that's how I started too. And that's, um, But yeah, I think it takes that first 10 seconds of courage where you're like, this is what I'm going to do, and this is
Hmm.
who I am now. And, or the moment you like sort of um, just decide that this is me, the new version of me, or my new self, or whatever um, I just always go, this is Sneha 3.0, Sneha
Yeah.
67.0.
Hmm. I think one of us said it earlier. It's that letting go of what I'm supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been talking about that a lot, whether it's in my career or in a marriage or as a parent, as a parent of what I'm supposed to do is bring my kids to
Mm-hmm.
school every day. Guess what? We played skooky. We went skiing on a day and took her out of school, and that was intentful because
Yeah.
it was going to be a day with my daughter.
Yeah. And I think it's so important to listen to, you can't half ass something. So there has to be intention behind anything and everything we do. And it makes it more calmer when you start to do things with intention. Have you seen people
Yeah.
like who are just like wired all the time, like "Rah, rah, 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 rah," and like they keep starting things and not finishing things, and they keep
Hmm.
going from, you know, one thing to another, one boyfriend to another, one thing, like it will just be all over the place. And I think intention fixes that.
Yep.
Pick one thing, and I mean it in a, sure, if you have a dream where you just become a different person and that person walks differently, talks differently, or whatever your new self that you have envisioned is. So that would mean you working out, you doing this, you doing that. Right. But it's one project. Treat it
Hmm.
in that. Like, don't overwhelm yourself. That's what I love about intention, is that once you have made a decision, it like slows you down without making you feel like there's no need for urgency anymore.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Intentions like the path towards that thing that you're getting to. And the opposite of intention, I imagine, is those distractions, the environment, the
Mm-hmm.
busyness, and that person going down that path is being distracted by the bees over here and the trees over here, just kind of like pulled in every direction so that they lost sight of the path.
Yeah. So commitment to self
Hmm.
is is sort of what intention is. I love that. I think that's beautiful.
Are we ready for our exercise?
Yes, ma'am. Let's go.
Okay, let me pull it over. This one is called The Castle.
Love it. My princess self is super ready.
Okay. You begin at the entrance of the castle. Visualize the entrance door to it. How is the door? Simple or daunting? Is it covered by plants or something else? And is it somewhat hard to find? What is it made of? I should have asked the questions last. Hold on. I gotta visualize it. Oh, you got it?
Mm-hmm.
You pass through the door of the castle and realize that there is nobody else inside. What is the first thing you see? A huge library, wall to wall full of books, a huge fireplace and a hot fire burning, a large banquet hall with huge chandeliers and red carpets, a long corridor, and many closed doors. I don't know if we're supposed to choose one of those or not, but I'll fit mine into one if I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Next, you find a staircase and decide to climb it. What does this staircase look like? It looks sharp and massive, like not leading anywhere, or it is an impressive spiral grand staircase.
You know. You are.
After you climb the stairs, you reach a small room in which there's only one window. How big is it? What do you see when you look out the window? Large waves crashing furiously on rocks, a snowy forest, a green valley, a small, vibrant city. Now you go down the stairs and you're back in the area where you were when you first entered the castle. You go ahead and find a door at the rear of the castle. You open it and go out in the yard. What does it look like? It is full of, oh goodness, hypertrophic plants, grasses, broken wood, and fallen barbed wire. It is impeccably maintained and countless colorful flowers. It's a jungle, but you can imagine how beautiful it would be if someone cleaned and put it in order. That was pretty easy for me too.
Yeah.
All right, you ready? I feel like
Yes.
it's deceiving because the word castle in my mind. All right, the door. The door represents your attitude to new experiences. If you imagined a simple everyday door, you probably are not afraid of any new challenge and will test your luck in new things and situations without a second thought. The hidden door means you probably are unsure what you need to do in the future.
Mine was like super elaborate, but that like it's kind of, I would say, more towards everyday because that's what I grew up looking at. So
Mm-hmm.
like just because it was the castle, it wasn't like doors here. It was super elaborate and beautiful. Like it had motifs all over it, but it was grand and it was right there.
So you're not afraid of new challenges, but maybe you look at them as excitement, right?
Opportunity, yes.
Yes. Mine
Thrill.
was like super strong in stone. Like it was
Mm,
massive because it's a castle. But I
mm.
think out of that, it's probably like I see new experiences as what makes you stronger. And so it's
Oh,
like,
that's good.
yep. Okay, the
This
room
goes
inside.
back to intention. Like you're faced with a challenge and you're like your
How do
intention
you
is
approach it, right? Yes,
yeah.
I love that. The room inside the castle. The space inside the castle is what you believe others feel because of you. A library denotes that you are the person who supports others and helps them find answers to their problems. The large fireplace means you believe a cause you you believe you cause a feeling of warmth and passion. A fancy ballroom suggests that you feel that you can dazzle people around you and that you have a lot to give. If you ended up in a long corridor with closed doors, you feel that you are difficult to understand, that others will have to try to penetrate more within you. Insecure?
I love that they just threw that in the insecure
I
question
know
mark.
the
I was
writing on
like,
some of these. It's
my
like,
God,
damn.
sassy much. Mine was interesting because mine was none of it, none of the options. But what I saw was I entered at the main area, sort of, and in the center was just like the whole thing of flowers, like a centerpiece, and everything was so many like fairy lights and like cozy, but not. I didn't see a fireplace per se, but I saw a lot of light and warmth. But in the center was this huge thing of like blooming flowers.
So you feel welcoming and colorful and vibrant, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Mine definitely was an entryway. And so it was more like I saw the entryway with the staircase, the classic like,
That's what I thought. Yeah.
oh.
So, okay, so we both. That's
Did you see the
strange.
double spiraled staircase?
I just saw one. So you know, like you entered,
Yeah.
and there's the centerpiece, and then the spiral stair, like just one.
Okay. Mine had
That's how
two
yeah.
that met up at the top. I feel like it was from a movie or something.
We had one of those at my school where my entire
Yeah.
like I'll show you when we
Yeah.
go.
But figure this out because when I first asked, the first thing I thought of when I opened the door was a little table with a teapot.
Hey,
I don't know what
hey,
that
that's
means.
warm and comforting. Like, hey, you can tell me
Okay.
things. I feel
Oh,
that.
spill the tea. Yeah, like you can. I love
I
it.
love that. I think that's so on point for you because you've always felt um safe is not the right word, but that's what's coming up. Like it feels safe to talk to you about anything, and it's been like that from day one.
Right. I love that. Good job. Okay, staircase. I think we both
Yes.
were very similar. The stairway shows the image that you have of life. The sharp and massive staircase shows a person who sees life as suffering with many difficulties, unlike the beautiful spiral staircase, which shows how romantic a person is.
Me, just so romantic. It was
I'm
all so
totally,
beautiful.
I'm totally 90s rom-com movie.
Why? That's my thing. Like when people get mad at other people for romanticizing their life, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? If we're looking at the same life and you're miserable and I am not, guess I'm happier.
Right? Or positive intentions, right?
That, that.
Okay, this one's in, I think this will be interesting. The window is
Mhm.
the way you feel right now. A small window means that you feel depressed and trapped in your life. A gigantic one means you feel invincible and so on.
That one.
Mine was small.
Yeah?
Uh, it was, but I don't feel trapped. I
Mm.
wonder if, I might say the small window is that not a clear vision of what's ahead, you know? I think that
Yeah.
that's a little bit more of it.
Mine was like I just stood there like, both hands like this, looking out, just
See it.
waiting.
I will do an AI image of that for you.
Just standing there.
I feel like you've taken that photo on my phone before. Yeah,
Oh my
when
God,
you're
my.
turned like this.
Yeah. Always.
Okay,
Oh
what
my
was the
God.
view out your window? What'd you see?
My view is really pretty. It was a lot of green. I saw a lot of tiny houses, like not quite a city, but town-ish.
Mm.
Village, town, that kind of a thing. Like very natural. Very like I didn't see a lot of like cars and shit. It was just serene.
Yep. Yeah, my window, it was small and really high. So, well, at first, all I saw was beautiful blue sky, those
Mm.
really cute, cartoony, swoopy clouds, birds, that kind of stuff. And then when I climbed up to like kind of look below, it was valleys. It was, different valleys, not necessarily a village, but a very, very rural.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Meaning?
Okay, so the view from the window is the overview of your whole life. A stormy sea shows a hectic and erratic life, while a snowy forest is associated with a person who lived isolated and detached from others. The green valley shows that your life is calm and steady without much stress and anxiety. Finally, the
Oh,
vibrant city is related to someone who generally lives full life, socializing with lots of people. So a good
it's not
mix.
me. No. Socializing
Okay.
with four people. Four.
What was the
Okay.
court when you walked out of the castle? What would you see?
Um, it wasn't a pristine garden, but it was like a messy, but like it wasn't a jungle either because I know that was an option. But you know how Impractical Magic, how their
Yeah,
garden was?
sort
Like
of
it was
wild,
yeah, a
right?
little wild, a little like, but everything was fruitful, everything was like happy. It wasn't like like overwhelming. It was just like this is nature kind of a thing, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to fix any part of it.
Yeah. Mine was, I mean, I would say it was well groomed, but it was because it was all these mazes in within it, like the garden mazes that are out there. And it was
Yeah,
just like, it was like in a playground I wanted to go walk through. And so
yeah,
lots of
yeah,
colors, but it was very
just fun.
intentionally done.
That's the way to say it. That's how I felt about mine. Like, was it everywhere? Yes, but was like path cut out for me to walk? Absolutely. Like it was just I knew where I was going. I didn't want to change a thing. Like that's why I wouldn't say the
Mhm.
jungle one because
Yeah.
the jungle implies like it said something in the
You wanted to
option where
fix it
like
up, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't it was just so beautiful. It was wild
Yeah.
and
I just wanted to
beautiful.
go enjoy it.
Mhm.
All right. The courtyard is the image that you have of your future. Ooh, I like this. A neat and shiny garden denotes a secure and optimistic outlook with things already in order. On the other, a picture of a promising but neglected garden shows an optimistic person, but one worried that he is not paying enough attention to his future. Those who chose the grassy, damaged garden are pessimistic and insecure. I think that's true. I think that bodes well.
Yeah, what was the jungle? They didn't say anything about the
It
jungle.
was that was the picture of a promising but neglected garden. That was step
Mm,
one.
okay, so where was our option, I guess? There was no like it was either super pristine or not.
Ours was neat and shiny, but it wasn't like, you know, fully secure, like, so that denotes a secure and optimistic outlook with things already in order. Like, I think I
Right.
looked at mine, it wasn't perfect, by any means, but everything
No.
was sort of working and done, and I was excited to dive in, which
I
I would
like
say.
that it's open. It's like open in a way that that we don't have every moment planned and there's like chance of adventure. I like that. I love that
Mhm.
so much. But optimistic. So, figures.
Perfect. So that was the castle. That was a good
I
one.
loved it.
All right, to I guess next is we kind of sum things up. So, what
Yes.
was your biggest takeaway out of this talk about intentions?
I'd say that we think that setting intention or doing things with intention is hard. But I would argue on the contrary. Doing things, flailing around, being a headless chicken, that's a hard part. And it's the way you look at it, when you start a project, you either put time in it in the beginning or throughout. You know what I mean by that.
Yep.
Word in advertising. So you either work on the concept, make it strong so it flows smoothly, or you just, patch shit up here and then keep getting hit.
Constantly changing and
And
adjusting.
so that's the only difference. If you think that you setting intentions right now is a waste of time, you will have so much more like during. So it never like there's no upside other than if you just do things with intention from the beginning, it flows so much easier. It just becomes so much more rewarding. It like
Hmm.
you start to pay attention, you slow down, and it gets easier to know what's for you and what's not for you. Like what part of you wants something and why. And the why is so important because okay, I want that job or I want that boy. Sorry, David, I'm making I'm giving an example. Or I want that car or I want that house. Why? And once you start asking yourself the why, your part will tell you once I have that house, I'll be happy. Once I have that car, I'll prove to people. Or whatever those things will be, it will start becoming clearer to you that it was not your intent. Your intent will never be about people, your intent will be about you. And once you start doing that, you stop comparing and contrasting, you stop looking at yourself it through other people's eyes, and it's just the most beautiful thing in my opinion. Again, I'm not an authority, but that's the difference I think intention can make.
I think, yeah. I think out of it, I just want to take more moments to stop and be sure I'm being intentful, right? Like, and so what
Mm,
are those questions to ask yourself? And my brain went right to why. Why are we doing this? Are you doing this as a reaction to the environment,
mm-hmm,
or are you doing it because of something inside you? You
mm-hmm,
know, are you know, not supposed to take your daughter out of school, but you're doing this for your relationship with your daughter and to show your daughter that it's a good thing to have, you
mm-hmm,
know, ask yourself those things to really make sure that you're, aligning yourself with what your heart is telling you, right?
mm-hmm. So many things become clear once you get there, once you go to the point where you're like, but why do I want this and what is my intention behind it? And that's where you're like the thing that the uh, uh, elusive house of cards just like falls. You're like, oh, I want to do that to impress them, I wanted to do that to do that, and what am I doing?
It
And
goes
that,
it goes back to your inner child, that the one that always asks why.
yeah,
It keeps asking why,
yeah.
why.
I, why? Just ask yourself. Even yeah, I want a fuck ton of money. Okay, why? If it's anything other than I just want to live a comfortable life, if it's anything other than I want to provide, or like even providing for other people, that's like other people, right? So
Yeah.
it has to be something where like I want to feel free, or
Hmm.
whatever that will be. Like, oh, I want to travel freely, I want to buy things freely, and like come back to that I statement,
Yeah.
that where your
And
intention is.
if it eventually, as you're answering those whys, if it eventually goes to them, then we need to
Yeah.
rethink, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm supposed to, because they said this should
Mm-hmm.
happen, because this is
Mm-hmm.
what I always thought I was supposed to do in life.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
what we just posted on our Instagram. We said stop performing for people. Like,
I loved
it's
that. Yes.
it's just, you will, the moment you start just making those I statements, you will stop performing for other people. Like, people will stop having power over you. Anything about
Hmm.
that. And time, the urgency will go away. Like, once you decide you want to be an artist, you have decided it doesn't matter, come what may, I want to be an artist. And so time no longer matters, urgency is not there. It doesn't matter what people say. Once you have decided, I want to be an artist because that's the only thing that brings me joy, I want to have a joyful life. That's intention in its purest form. And that's when you follow that, that's what you're made for. Like, like those are the authentic moments, those are the things. That's why I say intention is basically just the most honest thing that comes from deep within you, rather than anything that
Yep.
you learned or conditioning. So yeah, I think that's something to remember, that it makes you be honest with yourself.
Yep. And I think the one last thing that I want to keep as that reminder is assuming good intentions, and we need to keep reminding each other, and
Yes.
catching other people like, hey, are you assuming bad?
Hmm.
Like, do you really think that person would want to do that to you? Like, we need to help each other do that. And
And even
just,
when you do think that that might be, stop yourself from losing sleep over that, because it is
mm,
not going to do anything to you other than make you spiral, drain your energy.
pull
That's where you're
energy.
like just call your power back. Just, even if you think, don't assume bad intent, but let's say you've already been there with this person before, that might be hard. In that case,
Yep.
let go, release, just like a pen you just found, drop it, just
Hmm.
completely release it and go, well, that's none of my business, move
Yep.
on.
Love it.
Mm.
Well,
Eh,
I think that
this was
was a good
good.
one today. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll see our people on the next session of Sip and Pep next week.
Okay.
Thank you,
Bye.
Carly, love you.
Thank you. Love you.